Hello, I'm Executive Chef Joseph Schultze and welcome to our kitchen. Today I'd like to share with you a recipe and technique for making one of my favorite desserts, Cuatro Leche. Cuatro Leche is essentially the Tres Leches cake with the addition of caramel. Sounds like it's difficult? Well, it's not really that difficult. So join me now as I show you how I prepare it. Well, in a bowl, I like to add my flour, baking powder, and salt. And then put this off to the side. In a separate bowl, we will add our sugar, vanilla bean paste, and oil. And let's go ahead and gently mix this together. Well, now that we have everything mixed and the sugar resembles wet sand, let's go ahead and add our milk. And then go ahead and mix this in. Make sure to scrape the sides a little, make sure you get everything. So now that everything is incorporated, let's go ahead and start mixing our eggs in, one at a time. Now that we have everything mixed, we're going to fold it into the flour mixture. Now, it is time to fold the liquid into the flour. There, everything is incorporated. Now off to our baking pans. Well, what I've decided to do is make a trifle instead of just a regular cake. So first I want to grab my nonstick spring molds. I want to spray with a little bit of nonstick spray. And the reason I'm using two different sizes is because my trifle happens to be tapered, where it's smaller at the bottom and then tapers out for a wider diameter on the top. So let's go ahead and start pouring in our batter. Well, now that we have our pans filled, let's go ahead and take this to a preheated oven, 325 degrees Fahrenheit, and let's bake it for 17 minutes to start with. Test it with a toothpick. If you insert the toothpick and pull it out and it comes out clean, your cake is ready to go. If it still has some stuck to it and is wet, go an additional minute or two before pulling it out. Well, while the cake is in the oven, let's go ahead and start mixing our 3 of the 4 milks. In a bowl, let's take our condensed milk, add our heavy cream, evaporated milk, now this part is optional. You can add either a little bit of rum or brandy. We're going with rum. And let's just go ahead and gently mix this together until all of the milks are incorporated. Here's our leche syrup for the cake. Let's just put this aside, and now let's go on to make the 4th leche, which is caramel. Well, to begin the caramel, get a pan and your sugar and start heating it up until the sugar melts and begins to caramelize, taking on a darker color. I recommend highly to have a candy thermometer nearby, as you could use that to determine the temperature you want to be. You don't want to go too high a temperature. If you do, your caramel will go past the caramel stage and turn to hardtack candy once it cools, which is cool, but for this application, we do not want. Now, sometimes people will add water or even corn syrup to their sugar mixture, to the sugar, to help kind of jumpstart the caramelization process and the dissolving of the sugar. But keep in mind, if you put some water in here to dissolve the sugar, you have to cook away the water before you can start caramelizing the sugar. So after a couple minutes without stirring, you'll notice that it starts to caramelize. So go ahead and start mixing it. And from here on out, you're gonna wanna continuously stir it. Not too vigorously, just enough to control the caramelization. You don't really want it too dark. A nice golden brown. Your caramel is finished. Very nice color. Little liquidy, and that's what we want. Because keep in mind that when this cools, it's gonna thicken and get a lot thicker. So where we are right now is gonna be really nice. And during the time we were making this, we removed the cakes from the oven, and now we have them cooling down to room temperature. Well, now we're ready for assembly. First thing I like to do is take a fork and go ahead and poke some holes into your cake. This is going to allow the leche syrup to penetrate all the way through. Now let's go ahead and put our bottom layer in and pour our leche. I like to pour about enough where it fills the, or kind of comes up level with it. I assure you it will get absorbed by it. Next, let's go ahead and add our apricot. Feel free to use any fruit that you like. During the summers, we like to use the fresh peaches from our tree in the backyard. Really makes it nice. I'm gonna take the larger cake and I'm gonna use my cutter for layers and use it as kind of a cookie cutter to get the diameter I need to go on that. So I'll press down here, make my mark, and gently just walk it around. Okay. But before we put that, let's go ahead and put our caramel. And this is our fourth leche. Well, there you have my Cuatro Leches trifle. Not too difficult to make. A lot of the things, you know, are pretty much pre-made and you just mix together, like the leche syrup. Baking the cake is pretty simple as well. Whether you make it a trifle or just make it into a cake, that's up to you. I just wanted to do something a little more different and wanted to utilize some apricots that we had. You know, feel free to use any fruit that you like or omit them. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's demonstration, and I'd really like to see some feedback or comments, questions, and give it a try. Let me know how it turns out for you. If you've not already done so, please subscribe to our channel. I'd love to have you on board. And also hit that there bell so you can get notified of our latest posts. And thanks again for joining us. Untitled.